Hello, and today I'm going to be talking about some horror films that I'm going to be watching around Halloween time this year. So basically, these are all scary films that in my collection, that I've never watched or haven't watched in a very long time, or in the case of one I have watched recently, but is a different cut than the one I saw. So basically, I've got so many DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks that I haven't watched yet, and I thought I should use Halloween as an excuse to watch some of the horror ones that need watching because they're just sitting on my shelf collecting dust otherwise. So let's get started. So we'll start with one that's recent. Actually, came out was this year, last year. It's this year, yeah. It was Megan. So I saw this in the cinema. I really enjoyed it. It's about this inventor lady called Gemma, who's the I think she says she was in Get Out. Who'd she play? Did she play the girlfriend in Get Out? I think she might have. Yeah, but so Gemma, so she's this robot inventing lady, and she ends up becoming the guardian of her niece because her niece's parents die horribly in a car crash, and she's like, "Oh, my sister is dead, and that's sad. And I've got to look after her niece, and I don't know anything about looking after kids." So she's in the meantime she's building this lifelike doll who with AI who's programmed to be a child's best friend. So she's like, "Ooh, called Megan," and she's like, "Oh, I'll use Megan to um, look after my niece and that, and use my niece as a guinea pig to see what Megan's like." And it works and it's very successful. And but it turns out that Megan is violently protective and becomes a bit murdery. So yeah, it was a fun film. I thought it did have some tonal issues, like because at times it's very serious. It's dealing with grief and death of parents and family drama sort of stuff. But then there's also other parts that are very campy and funny and satirical. And I thought you can have a film that has those two tones, but you need to balance them right. And I don't think this quite got the balance between them. When it would shift, it was a bit jarring to me. Maybe it could have done with a few rewrites to try and get the tone better balanced. But as the film is, I thought it was quite enjoyable. So yeah, and this is the unseen edition because yeah, here in the UK, like it's the unrated cut, but because here in the UK everything, like any film or DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, has to legally be given an age certificate. You can't say unrated because it has a rating. So they always gave them like different names, like unseen edition or extreme edition or silly names like that. I think my favorite was, I remember the DVD of Taken was the extended harder cut, which it sounded a bit rude, honestly, but yeah, made it sound like a porn film. But yeah, I'm quite curious to see what the unseen cut is. I've heard it's not like the film's not. It's the same length. It's just the murder scenes are a bit more, have a bit of gore in, whereas they didn't so much in the cinema because it was a 15 in over here, but in America it was PG-13, so a lot of the blood was actually removed. So this has a lot of that put back in. So I'm curious to see what it's like. Yeah, but I would, if you like watch a good fun horror comedy. I guess you could say this is a horror comedy. Yeah, I would recommend this. Next is a quite notorious amongst fans of this particular series. We have Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Now, I say it's notorious because famously this has really nothing to do with the other Halloween films. It doesn't have Michael Myers or anything. It's a completely separate story. The idea was, after the first two, John Carpenter thought, well, if we're going to keep making Halloween films, how about we do it like an anthology? So every film, it's a new story with new characters, and it's with the connecting theme of it revolves around Halloween. And fans didn't take well to this. They hated it. Like, a lot of people, they're like, well, where's Michael Myers? Blah, blah, blah. Like, this has like the reputation of being the crap one. The because didn't have Michael Myers, and even because even though some of the ones with him in were a bit crap and honestly a lot worse than this, but and just critics also didn't like. I mean, I think they just thought it was crap. And I saw this many years ago. I got a DVD of it in Poundland years and years ago, and I watched it, and I wasn't that fussed on it, to be honest. But it does have, even though it's sort of always been sort of much maligned, it actually over the years it's developed something of a cult following. Like there's a lot of people who say, yeah, okay, it's not, it's not really a Halloween film. I mean, well, it's in a film in the Halloween series, and it does have its problems, but it's actually a pretty cool horror film on its own. And I thought, a lot of people really rate this, so I thought maybe I should give it another watch. So, because I haven't seen it in about 10 years, maybe I'll like it more upon rewatch. And this is the UK DVD from Scanbox. I believe it was re-released by High Flyers later. It's the same DVD. It just has a different company name on logo on the box. But this isn't a very good release of the film. Like, if you want to, I wouldn't recommend this. It's cut. It's like since this film it was cut at the cinema, and on VHS some of the violence for a 15 certificate. Then it was then when it was released on DVD by a company called Missing in Action, it was a terrible 4:3 pan and scan transfer, but it was uncut. But then it was reissued by Sanctuary in widescreen, although not in the correct aspect ratio. It was shot in 2:3:5, but the Sanctuary DVD was cropped to 16:9. But it did at least it wasn't VHS quality, and it was a cut version. Even though it had the cuts to violence, even though the previous DVD was uncut, and unfortunately this is the same print as that Sanctuary DVD, so it's 16:9, cropped to 16:9, and cut. So not a very good copy of the film, to be honest. I mainly got it because I fancied rewatching it, and honestly, I was ordering something from HMV, and I needed to get another item because you only get free postage if you spend over £20, and I thought, I'll get this, and then that'll take it over £20, and then so I get free postage, and it gives a chance to rewatch the film. If I enjoy it, I can always upgrade to a Blu-ray from overseas, like the American Blu-ray from Universal, I believe, is region free, so I could import that if I enjoy it, and if I don't enjoy it, well, it's not like I spent loads of money importing it. I just got it for a few quid. So yeah, but yeah, I'll give this another go. It's got that bloody. Those of you who've seen the film, I mean, there's this jingle, the Silver Shamrock jingle, where it's this sort of jingle set to London Bridge is falling down. Like happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. And if you've ever seen that film, that song it will be stuck in your head. It's such an earworm. So yeah, so be warned. You will have the Silver Shamrock song stuck in your... If you watch this, you will have the Silver Shamrock song stuck in your head for, weeks. And then the last film that I've actually seen before, we have a film... I really, really love this film. We have Fiend Without a Face. This is an old 50s B-movie, sci-fi horror B-movie. It's actually a British film. It's set in Canada. It was filmed in England. British crew, but it was set in Canada because I guess they wanted to appeal to the American market, so they wanted to set it in North America, but obviously because it's got English-looking locations in English-sounding, all the extras local that sound British and that. I guess they thought, well, we'll set it in Canada. And then we can explain away, well, that's why everyone sounds, not everyone, but a lot of the people in it sound English, and why the locations look, English, the houses and stuff. And but it's still technically within the Americas, so it will appeal more to a US audience. But yeah, I really love this film. It's about killer. It's brain vampires, which are these brain things, and the special effects are really, really, for the time, like the stop motion brain monsters at the end. The animation on the end is fantastic. It's actually really, it's a PG certificate, but it's really gory for a film made in the 50s. I think when this came out, it was it was cut, and it was given an X certificate, and people still complained that it was too much, even though it had an adults only rating. But yeah, it's really, really fun black and white B movie. This is the Screenbound release. I had a DVD of this from, I think, Poundland. Yeah, it was Poundland, and it was some cheap, like, budget release, bare bones. There, I don't even think it had a proper. I think it just had play. It didn't even have scene selection. It was just the menu came. It just said play movie. In that, and I sold that because I was planning on buying there's a release from Criterion which has remastered transfer and special features and that, and I was planning on getting that, and then my region free player died, and now I can't watch any region locked discs. So, so I got this, and I think it's basically the same print as the Poundland DVD, although I'm sure the compression's probably a bit better than that one. But it doesn't have any special features really, but it has the film, and that's what I wanted at the end of the day. So I'm quite happy with this disc. This cover's a bit misleading because this character here, this lady, I think she's only in a couple of scenes. She's not in the film very much. You'd think she was a main character because they've got her very prominent in the back, but she's hardly in the film from what I remember. I haven't seen it in a good long while, and you have inside art, you have that, great, that's the original poster, which that was the cover on my Poundland DVD, and I wish it was the cover on this, because that one's kind of lame, but yeah, really, really good film. If you like old sci-fi films from this period, I would really recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Now we're on to the stuff I haven't seen yet, so we'll start with Pumpkinhead, which is directed by Stan Winston. The famous special effects. He did special effects on, like, animatronics on Aliens, Terminator 2, Jurassic Park. Yeah. I haven't seen it, heard it's quite good. I wanted to watch it because there's a YouTuber called Cold Crash Pictures, and he did this video about, I forget it was called, something like 3 stories about revenge or something, and this was one of the things he talked about in it, and it sounded really good, and being Stan Winston directed it, I think, was this the only film he directed, or did he direct any of the films? I don't know, but being that he directed it, and he was a special effects guy, I imagine the special effects will look pretty good, so yeah, quite looking forward to watching that. Next is a Japanese film called The Happiness. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. The Happiness of the Katakuris. Katakuris. I'm not sure how you say that. It's by Takeshi Miike. I've never actually seen Takeshi Miike any of his films. And that's probably he's a bit of a cinematic blind spot of mine. I should probably watch. I've heard his films are quite good, so I should probably watch more of them. So from what I understand, it's like a horror comedy musical, which sounds amazing. So it's yes, you can see that he's the inside cover. You can see that this is the original poster, but you can see on the cover, "The hills are alive with the sound of screaming." Amazing. So what's it about? It's about, so the Katakuris are a family trying to run a peaceful country inn, but the lack of guests there. But with a lack of guests there is much. I'll read it again. The Katakuris are a family trying to run a peaceful country inn, but with a lack of guests there is much excitement for their first visitor until they wind up dead. As each guest in turn dies in strange circumstances, the family agree to hide the bodies, but will the cover-ups come back to haunt them? In The Happiness of Katakuris, scenes of grotesque stop-motion animation, surreal musical numbers, and zombies combine to make one of the finest horror comedies ever made. So yeah, that sounds amazing. Can't wait to watch this. And lastly, we have this is a series of films actually. These are the Fu Manchu films that Christopher Lee made in the I guess the 1960s. So we have The Face of Fu Manchu, The Brides of Fu Manchu, The Vengeance of Fu Manchu. Sorry, I had to look at it. The for some reason on my monitor the camera's flipped. I Don't know why. Yeah, The Vengeance of Fu Manchu, The Blood of Fu Manchu, and The Castle of Fu Manchu. Now, as you probably guess, I mean, probably not the most politically correct films in the world. Like, obviously, Fu Manchu is a very popular character, but is now considered a bit of a racist. It's considered quite a racist stereotype. Also, the fact that Christopher Lee is a white man playing him in Yellowface. I don't think there's ever been like a Fu Manchu film where he's actually been played by an Asian. I think it's always just been a white guy in makeup every time Fu Manchu's been in a film. Which I understand Fu Manchu is not a they probably haven't made any recently, but you would think there would be at least one, but apparently not. But so yeah, not the most politically correct films. Probably some I would imagine find them quite offensive by today's standards. But I've heard some of them are quite fun, so I'm curious to check them out. I'm wondering. I mean, obviously they'll be very dated, but maybe they'll be enjoyable despite that. I don't know. I've heard the last two, Blood of Fu Manchu and Castle of Fu Manchu. They're the ones directed by Jess Franco, and I've heard they're not so good, but the earlier ones are apparently quite fun. So I'm willing to check them out. I'll give them a chance. If I don't like them, I can always take them to CEX and trade them in. But yeah, so those are the horror films that I'll be watching around Halloween. If you've seen any of them, let me know what you think. Are they the ones that I haven't seen yet? Are they any good? Also, what are you planning on watching around the holiday? So let me know these things, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and I will see you all next time.